The night was quiet in the village of Narelle. No wind, no animals, just silence. Ravi, a 16-year-old boy, lay on the roof of his small mud house, staring at the stars. He liked the stars. They felt peaceful, far away from the noise of people, work, and the same old problems. His parents were asleep, and the village was dark. Just before he closed his eyes, a bright green flash lit up the sky. Boom! The sound shook the trees. Birds flew out in all directions. The flash disappeared as quickly as it came. Ravi sat up, heart beating fast. That wasn't thunder. It came from the forest. The next morning, Ravi told no one. He ate his breakfast, quickly grabbed his wooden basket, and told his mother he was going to collect firewood near the river. She nodded. Don't go too far. I won't, he lied. He took the long path that led deep into the trees, where no one from the village ever went. Old stories said there were spirits in that part of the forest, but Ravi didn't care. He had to know. What caused that light? The sun climbed higher as he walked. Birds chirped. Leaves danced in the wind. Then, silence again. Something was near. He stepped carefully, moving past the thick bushes and bending under hanging vines. Then he saw it. A silver object half buried in the earth, smoke rising from its side. It was shaped like a shell, round and broken open. Strange blue lights blinked along its edge. It was not from Earth. Ravi froze. His mouth hung open. A ship. He whispered. He didn't know much about space, but he had seen pictures in old books. This thing didn't look like anything made by humans. He looked around. No one. Slowly, he walked closer. The inside was dark. There were broken chairs, long wires, and strange symbols on the walls. Then he heard it, a soft sound, like someone crying. He stopped, then again louder this time. Not crying, calling. He climbed inside, and there she was. An alien woman, tall, with soft blue skin and eyes like silver glass. She was sitting on the floor, holding something small in her arms. Her breathing was weak. Her arm was bleeding. But she stared at him with no fear. She spoke. Ravi couldn't understand the words, but the feeling in her voice was clear. She was in pain, and the small figure in her arms was her child. Ravi didn't know what to do. His legs shook. His hands were cold, but something inside him told him not to run. This woman wasn't dangerous. She wasn't here to fight. She was a mother. The child, a little girl, was still, her skin pale purple, her eyes closed. The woman touched the girl's face, then looked at Ravi. She spoke again, in a quiet, trembling voice. Her hand reached out toward him. Ravi stepped closer. He knelt beside her and looked at the child. Her tiny hands were cold. She didn't move. The woman said something again. A single tear rolled down her cheek, even though he couldn't understand her words. Ravi felt her message. I'm losing her. He didn't hesitate. Ravi reached into his basket and pulled out a cloth. He gave it to her to press against her wound. She looked surprised but thankful. Then he gently touched the child's forehead. Cold, no sweat, no color. He took a deep breath and stood up. Wait here, he said. I'll come back. He ran back. At the village, Ravi went to the herbs room behind his grandmother's house. She was a healer, and he had helped her many times. He took a small bag of dried herbs used for breathing problems, another for fever, and some clean cloth. He also grabbed a bottle of boiled water. Then he ran back. Fast. When he returned, the woman was still holding the child. Her head had dropped lower, like she was losing strength. Ravi ran inside the ship. I brought this, he said, opening the bag. She watched, eyes wide, but didn't stop him. He placed the herbs in warm water, mashed them with a stone, and placed the mix under the child's nose. A few minutes passed. The child made a calm, soft sound. The woman gasped. The girl's fingers twitched. Her lips moved. Her chest lifted in a slow breath. She's breathing, Ravi said, smiling. The alien mother stared at him, then at her daughter. She looked back at Ravi and placed her hand on his. "Thank you," she said. That word he understood. That night, Ravi didn't go home. He cleaned the woman's wound and helped her drink water. He gave some food from his basket. The woman pointed to herself and said, "Sela." He pointed to himself. "Ravi," then she pointed to the child, "Neva." Ravi smiled. "Neva," he repeated softly. They were strangers to different worlds, two different lives, but something strong was already forming between them. As the stars came out again, Ravi sat beside the ship, staring at the sky. He knew one thing. For sure, this was no accident. Their meeting had meaning. And he was now part of something far bigger than his little village could ever imagine. Ravi returned home just before sunrise. His clothes were dirty. His eyes were tired. But his heart was full. He had helped someone, not just anyone, but an alien mother and her child. He didn't understand why or how, but he felt like it was the right thing to do. He knew he couldn't tell anyone. Not his parents, not his friends, not even his grandmother. The people in the village were good people, but they were also afraid of anything strange. If they saw the alien ship, or Sela, and Neva, they would call it danger. They might even want to destroy it. Ravi could not let that happen. That morning, he told his parents he had seen a hurt animal in the forest and would go check on it again. His father only nodded. His mother warned him not to go too far, but Ravi was already planning his next trip. He packed food, flatbread, honey, and 2 boiled eggs. He also took clean water and more healing herbs. Then he slipped away again, walking quickly through the trees. When he reached the ship, Sela was awake. She looked better. Her skin was less pale, and the bleeding had stopped. Neva was still resting in her arms, her chest rising slowly with each breath. Ravi stepped inside. Sela looked at him and smiled. "You came back." He smiled too. "I said I would." Ravi gave her food and helped her drink. Then he opened the cloth bundle of herbs and handed her more for her arm. She studied the plants, touched them carefully, and nodded with respect. She didn't speak much, but her eyes said everything. Over the next few days, Ravi visited the ship. Every morning and evening, he brought small tools, blankets, and even an old lantern from his father's shed. He helped Sela build a stronger shelter around the broken ship using wood and long grass. He also covered the top with leaves so no one flying above could see the shine of metal. Neva started to open her eyes sometimes. She didn't speak, but she looked around slowly. Her skin was still weak in color, but her breathing had become normal. Sela smiled more each time she moved. One evening, Sela took Ravi outside and showed him something. She held out a glowing stone, shaped like a smooth egg, with a small light dancing inside it. When she touched it, images floated in the air like a dream. Ravi saw tall buildings made of silver and light. He saw trees with red leaves, rivers of soft gold water, and skies filled with 2 suns. He saw children with glowing eyes playing in the air, laughing. He saw peace. Sela looked at him. "This is our home," she said softly. "This is what we lost." Ravi didn't speak for a moment. He had never seen such beauty. What happened? He asked. She shook her head, sadness in her eyes. "War. Not from us. Others came. We ran. Many did not make it." She looked down at the stone. "This is all that's left. Our memory, our truth." That night, Ravi sat outside the ship thinking deeply. How could such a peaceful world be attacked? Why did people destroy what they didn't understand? He looked at the stars again, wondering how many worlds were out there, and how many were still hiding in fear. The next day, something strange happened. While helping Sela move some parts of the broken ship, Ravi touched a silver panel. It lit up soft. Blue lines moved under his fingers. Sela looked at him in surprise. You can touch it," she said. Ravi pulled his hand back. Was I not supposed to? Sela came closer and placed her hand next to his. The light glowed brighter. This ship, it has energy. It reads life. It only answers to trust, to kindness. That's why it listens to you. Ravi didn't fully understand, but he smiled anyway. Maybe the ship knew his heart. Neva began to wake more often. She made soft sounds and smiled when she saw Ravi. One day, she held his finger with her tiny hand and didn't let go. Sela watched, tears in her eyes. She likes you, she said. Ravi sat beside her and gently brushed Neva's hair. She's strong, he said. Sela nodded. But she needs more. Earth's air is not for her. Her body fights it. I need to fix the filter, or she may fall sick again. Can I help? Ravi asked quickly. Sela looked at the broken parts of the ship, then back at him. Yes, she said. But we must be careful. That evening, Ravi took a long path home to avoid people. He thought of what he could bring next: old machine pieces, wires, maybe batteries. His father had a broken radio. Maybe he could take it apart. When he got home, his mother asked, "Why are you going out so much these days?" Ravi thought for a second. I found something special, he said with a smile. She laughed. Another bird's nest? No, he said, something more important. Later that night, while everyone was asleep, Ravi opened the old radio with a small knife. He studied the wires, the small shiny parts, and placed them carefully in a bag. He didn't know much about machines, but he trusted Sela, and he believed in Neva. He believed in this strange bond they now shared. As days passed, Ravi and Sela began working together to fix the filter, a small machine that cleaned the air inside the ship. Ravi brought wires and tools. Sela explained how each part worked using simple drawings and hand signals. Even without full language, they understood each other. They were building something together. Not just a machine, but trust, friendship, family. One evening, as the sun painted the sky orange, Sela looked at Ravi and said, "You are not just helping us. You are part of us now." Ravi looked at her, surprised, touched his heart with her hand. "You didn't run. You didn't fear." "That is rare," Ravi smiled shyly. "I just did what felt right." And in that hidden corner of the forest, far from the eyes of the world, a human boy, an alien mother, and a quiet child built a small life together. A life full of secrets. A life full of hope. A life no one would believe, but it was real. And it had only just begun. The forest air felt heavier that day. The wind didn't blow like usual. Even the birds were quiet. Ravi noticed this as soon as he stepped under the trees. He walked quickly, holding a cloth bag in his hand. Inside were 2 small batteries, a broken toy fan, and a few copper wires he had taken from behind his grandmother's old cupboard. He hoped something inside might help Sela fix the air filter for Neva. When he reached the hidden ship, Sela was sitting outside on a stone, her face tired. She smiled softly when she saw him, but it didn't reach her eyes. Ravi placed the bag on the ground. "I brought these. Will they help?" Sela opened it and looked through the items. She nodded slowly. "Yes, maybe, thank you." Ravi looked around. "Where's Neva?" Sela didn't answer at first. She stared at the open door of the ship, then back at him. "She is inside," she said, voice low. "Sleeping again, too much, too long." Ravi stepped closer. "She's getting worse?" Sela nodded. "The filter works, but only a little. Her body is still weak. She's part of a different world, Ravi. Her blood, her breath. There. Not made for this air." Ravi felt something tighten in his chest. He had come every day. He had brought food, tools, and comfort. He had done everything he could. Still, it wasn't enough. Sela reached into her side bag and pulled out the glowing object again, the same one she had shown him before. The memory stone, but this time it pulsed brighter, like a heartbeat. She held it gently in her palms. "There is more I must show you," she said. "More than pictures." She guided him into the ship and sat cross-legged on the floor beside Neva, who lay wrapped in a soft silver blanket. Her face looked peaceful, but pale. Sela placed the stone between them. She looked into Ravi's eyes. "This stone holds more than memories. It holds life, spirit, the truth of who we are." Ravi listened carefully. "We pass it through our family," she continued, "from one parent to the next child. It grows with us, learns with us. When someone touches it with their heart open, it shows not just our past, but our soul." She motioned for Ravi to place his hand beside hers on the stone. He did. The room changed. Ravi felt a warm light enter his chest. His mind filled with soft music like wind through glass. He saw images again, but they were sharper this time, clear, real. He saw Sela as a child running through glowing gardens. He saw her parents teaching her about the stars. He saw Neva being born, her first cry echoing like music. He saw the moment Sela placed the memory stone in Neva's tiny hands. Then, darkness, fire, the sky of their world turning red, ships falling, people running. And finally, the small escape ship, flying alone through space, carrying only a mother, a child, and a piece of their history. The light faded. Ravi gasped, pulling his hand back. His chest hurt, but not from pain from feeling too much. Sela looked at him. Gently, "Now you understand. Neva is not just a child. She is the future of our people. She carries the last memory of our world inside her. If she dies, everything dies with her." Ravi looked at Neva, her tiny fingers curled weakly. "There must be something we can do." "I've tried everything I know," Sela said, her voice cracking. "But Earth is not made for her. She needs more than machines. She needs something alive. Something that connects both our worlds." "What does that mean?" Ravi asked. Sela shook her head. "I don't know yet. But the stone reacts to you, Ravi. It answers your touch. Maybe you are the bridge." Ravi blinked. "Me? Yes," she said. "You helped her breathe. You touched our memory. Maybe Earth chose you. Maybe life itself chose you." That night Ravi didn't sleep. He sat beside the ship, staring at the stars. He thought about everything: his village, his family, Sela's world, and the small girl sleeping inside with a whole universe inside her heart. That could he really be the connection between two worlds? He was just a village boy. He didn't know anything about space or science, but he cared. And maybe that was enough. The next morning, Neva didn't wake up. Her skin had turned a soft gray. Her body was still. Her breathing was shallow. Sela held her close, whispering words Ravi couldn't understand. Her eyes were full of fear. "I'm losing her," she said again. This time the words cut deep. Ravi stood. "What can I do?" Sela looked up at him. "There is a place deep in your forest. I saw it in the stone. There is a root there, a plant that grows only where life and death meet. My people called it Luma Ra. You may call it something else, but it has the power to connect life." Ravi thought hard. Then he remembered his grandmother once told a story. A glowing plant hidden in the dark ravine, beyond the high rocks. It was dangerous to reach, but she had called it a spirit root, a gift from the earth to save those who were almost lost. That had to be the same thing. "I'll go," Ravi said. Sela grabbed his hand. "It's far. It's not safe." "I don't care," he said. "If it can help Neva, I'll find it." She stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded, eyes full of silent hope. Ravi left just before sunset. He packed only a small knife, a water flask, and a cloth pouch. He didn't tell anyone. He didn't know how long the journey would take. But he followed his grandmother's stories in his mind like a map. The forest grew darker, the trees thicker. Sharp rocks cut his hands. Vines pulled at his feet. He climbed over a hill of broken stones and slid down into a deep, silent ravine. The air felt strange still, but full of energy, like the forest was watching him. Then, near the roots of an old tree, he saw it, a glowing plant, soft white light shining through its long leaves. Its roots moved slowly, as if breathing. He reached out and touched it. Pain shot through his hand. The light burned, but he didn't let go. He cut the root carefully and wrapped it in the cloth. Then he turned and ran back through the forest, back toward the ship, back toward Neva. His legs were tired, his feet were bleeding, but his heart was full of fire, because now he had hope. Ravi ran through the dark forest like his feet were on fire, the glowing root wrapped in cloth, pressed tightly against his chest. His hands were scratched, his shirt was torn, and his legs burned with every step. But he didn't stop. He didn't think about fear. He didn't think about pain. He only thought about Neva. She was still breathing when he left, but barely. And if he returned too late, all would be lost. When he finally reached the edge of the hidden ship, it was already night. The stars above were bright, but the air was heavy. A strange silence surrounded the forest. He pushed through the last set of bushes and stopped at the ship's door. Sela was sitting just outside, holding Neva tightly. Her eyes looked up, wide with worry and surprise. "Ravi!" He ran to her and knelt beside them. "I found it," he said, breathing hard. He opened the cloth and showed her the glowing root. Sela gasped. You really found Lumara." Her hands trembled as she touched the plant. "But it marked you." Ravi looked at his fingers. The tips were red and swollen, burned where he had touched the root directly. "It's okay," he said. "Just use it, please." Sela wasted no time. She carried Neva inside and placed her gently on a flat piece of cloth. She crushed part of the root with a smooth stone and mixed it with warm water. As it turned into a glowing liquid, she spoke softly in her own language, words Ravi couldn't understand, but which felt sacred. Then she took a drop and placed it on Neva's lips. Long silence followed. Nothing moved. Sela closed her eyes. Ravi felt his heart stop. Then Neva let out a soft cough. A glow spread across her skin, and her eyes slowly opened. Sela cried out, holding her daughter close. She whispered thanks over and over again in her soft voice. Ravi watched quietly, his throat tight. A deep feeling filled his heart. It was not pride. It was not joy. It was something more. It was connection. Later that night, Sela and Ravi sat outside the ship while Neva slept peacefully inside. The forest felt calm again, as if the trees themselves were breathing easier. Sela looked at Ravi with deep respect. "You touched Lumara with bare hands," she said. "It burns those who are not chosen," Ravi shrugged. "It burned, yes, but I didn't let go." She nodded slowly. "Then maybe it accepted you." Ravi looked at his hands. The red marks were still there, but strangely, they didn't hurt anymore. "Is it magic?" he asked. Sela smiled. "Not magic, life, pure life. Lumara is a bridge between worlds. It grows only where two energies meet, one from Earth, one from the stars. That's why it helped Neva." Ravi thought about that. "And maybe that's why it reacted to me?" "Yes," Sela said. "You are from Earth, but your heart opened to our world. The plant saw that. It connected to you." They sat in silence for a while. Then Sela spoke again. "Do you feel different?" Ravi paused. He looked up at the stars, then back at the trees. "Yes," he said. "I don't know how to explain it, but I feel everything more now. The wind, the ground, even the stars, like they're whispering." Sela leaned closer. "That is the seed of connection. You touched the root of two worlds, and now they live inside you." The next day, Neva was stronger. She sat up. She smiled. She even laughed softly when Ravi made silly faces. Her skin now glowed faintly, like the stone Sela had shown him before. Ravi sat beside her, amazed. "You're full of light," he whispered. Neva blinked, then reached out and touched his chest with her small hand. Sela watched from the side and said, "She feels it too. The root's energy is in you now. You are linked." Ravi didn't fully understand it, but he didn't need to. He only knew one thing. He would protect her, no matter what. Sela spent the next few days repairing parts of the ship. With Ravi's help and the old tools he brought from the village, she managed to fix the air system completely. The inside of the ship was now safe for Neva to live in without fear. She also took time to teach Ravi a few words from her language. It wasn't easy, but he learned slowly. He learned that Luma meant life, that Neva meant gift, and that Senna, what Sela now called him, meant trusted one. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with red and orange light, Sela sat with Ravi beside the fire. "There's something else you must know," she said. Ravi looked at her dot she held, the memory stone in her hand, and placed it between them again. "This stone now reacts to you faster than to me," she said. "That is not normal. What does it mean?" he asked. "It means," she said gently, "that you are more than a helper now. You carry part of our memory inside you. Neva is the future of our people, but she cannot survive alone." Ravi nodded slowly. "She needs a protector," he said. "Yes," Sela whispered, "and you are already becoming one." That night, Ravi returned home for the first time in days. He washed quietly, ate dinner with his family, and listened to his father's stories about farming tools and weather changes. But his mind was somewhere else, deep in the forest, beside a ship from another world, with a glowing child and a mother who trusted him more than anyone else. He looked at the stars again before sleeping. He touched the mark on his hand, and he smiled, because even though he was just a village boy, he now carried the light of a forgotten world in his soul, and he was ready for whatever came next. Ravi could feel the ground more clearly under his feet. The trees seemed to breathe. The sky above looked deeper, wider, like it held stories waiting to be told. Something inside him had awakened, and it wasn't going back to sleep. He wasn't just a boy anymore. He was something else. Inside the hidden ship, Sela studied the memory stone. Glowing lines floated in the air around it. She turned to Ravi. "I found it," she said. "A map to the mountain I told you about. It's far from here, but the energy there can help Neva grow stronger. It's where we must go." Ravi nodded. "But the ship, it still cannot fly, right?" Sela looked at the walls of the ship and touched one of the broken panels. "Maybe it can," she said, "but not in the way you think." Sela led Ravi to a hidden room inside the ship, one he had never seen before. The walls were smooth and silver, with strange lights that blinked like stars. In the center was a large panel with 3 hand-shaped spots glowing softly. "This is the heart of the ship," Sela said. "It only wakes when the right energy touches it." She pointed to the hand shapes. "One is mine. One is Neva's. And the last," she looked at Ravi. "Was never meant for us." Ravi stepped closer. "You mean?" "Yes," Sela said. "The ship has been waiting. It accepted you when you helped Neva. It opened to you when you touched the memory stone. And now, I believe, it needs you to move forward." Ravi swallowed. "What if I do something wrong?" "You won't," Sela said with a calm smile. "The ship knows your heart." Slowly, Ravi placed his hand on the 3rd glowing spot. The moment he touched it, warmth spread through his fingers. The lights on the walls brightened. A soft hum filled the air, deep and steady like a heartbeat. Then, the ship spoke, not with words, but with feeling. It welcomed him. Sela placed her hand on the 1st spot, and Neva, holding Ravi's other hand, placed hers on the 2nd. The panel in front of them opened, showing floating shapes, maps, symbols, and roots of stars. The ship was alive again. Sela stepped back, her eyes shining. "It worked," she whispered. "You really are the human key." Ravi stood still, trying to understand what had just happened. The ship had answered him not because he was smart or strong, but because he had cared. Because he had chosen to help. The next few days were filled with work. Ravi and Sela repaired wires using metal pieces from the village and parts from the broken radio he had brought. Sela taught him how to feel the ship's energy, how to listen to its hum, and how to speak through the panels using simple thought. Together, they cleaned the engine room and reconnected the power core, a small round stone that pulsed with soft, golden light. But there was one problem left. "The ship cannot fly far without balance," Sela explained one evening. "It's too damaged for full space travel. But if we link it to the Earth's life energy, we might lift it just enough." "Is that possible?" Ravi asked. "Only with help from the one who carries both Earth and star within him." Ravi understood. She meant him. That night, Ravi sat by the fire alone. He closed his eyes and placed his hand on the ground. He remembered the pain of touching the Lumara, the light of the memory stone, and the soft grip of Neva's tiny fingers. He breathed slowly. Suddenly, he felt something. A flow, a current. A quiet pulse moving from the earth, up through his hand, into his chest, and then back down into the ground again. That he was not just standing on the land. He was part of it. The next morning, he returned to the ship with quiet confidence. "I'm ready," he said. Sela smiled. "Then let's try." They all stood in the center of the ship. Ravi closed his eyes and placed his hands on the power stone. Neva held his wrist gently. Sela placed her hand on his shoulder. The ship began to glow from the inside walls, lighting up like soft fireflies. The broken floor trembled slightly. Outside, leaves lifted into the air, as if the forest itself was breathing. Upward. Ravi didn't think about flying. He thought about life. About memory. About two worlds, one lost, one still growing. He whispered, "Let's go." The ship rose. Slowly, gently, it lifted from the earth. Just a few feet at first, then higher. The trees swayed, but did not fight it. Birds flew beside it as if guiding the way. They hovered above the forest for just a moment. The village could not see them. No one looked up then. The ship moved forward toward the mountain in the glowing map. Toward something new. Inside, Neva laughed softly. She pointed at the window as clouds passed below them. Sela wiped her eyes. "We're moving. We are finally moving." Ravi smiled, though his heart beat fast. He had never flown before. But somehow, this didn't feel like flying in a machine. It felt like becoming something. They flew only a short time, maybe an hour, before landing in a quiet valley between two hills. The ship touched the ground lightly and rested. The mountain was close now, rising tall and silent under the golden light of the evening sun. Sela turned to Ravi. "You did it." "No," he said. "We did it." As they stepped out of the ship, the wind welcomed them, the grass moved in waves, and the sound of a quiet river sang nearby. Sela placed her hand on Ravi's back. "You are no longer just the boy from the village," she said. He nodded slowly. "I'm the guardian now." She smiled. "Yes, and this is only the beginning." The days passed quietly. Neva was stronger now. She could sit up, hold a cup of warm tea, and even walk a few steps with Ravi's help. Her smile returned, soft and full of light. Her silver blue eyes would follow Ravi wherever he moved. Every day, Ravi came to the ship with something: fruit, cloth, small parts, or new questions. Every night, he sat with Sela beside the fire, learning words from her language and hearing stories of her lost world. But on the seventh day, something changed. It began with the memory stone. That morning, Sela was meditating inside the ship, the stone resting between her hands. Neva was playing outside with a stick, drawing patterns in the dirt. Ravi sat nearby, weaving a toy bird out of dry grass. Suddenly, the memory stone began to glow brighter than before. Its soft light turned golden, and a deep hum filled the air. Sela opened her eyes in shock. She looked at Ravi. "Come here, now." Ravi stood and stepped into the ship. Neva followed him, her little hands clinging to his shirt. The stone pulsed faster as Ravi approached. When he placed his hand near it, the hum became a deep tone, like a bell ringing under the ground. Sela looked worried. "It's reacting again, stronger this time." Ravi's fingers touched the stone, and light spread through the ship. The air around them shimmered. Then, the ship's walls began to show moving images like dreams painted in the air. Ravi saw a field of stars. Then, a large white tree with silver roots floating in the sky. Below it stood a group of people, Sela's kind. They held hands, heads bowed, light moving between them. A voice, soft but clear, spoke from the light. "The guardian must awaken." Sela gasped. "That's prophecy language." Ravi looked confused. "What does it mean?" She turned to him, eyes wide. "It's an old legend. We believed that when our world was destroyed, a protector would rise not from our kind, but from another world. A guardian who would carry the memory, protect the future, and connect two worlds." Ravi stepped back. "Me? But I'm just—" Sela placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are not just anything. You touch the Lumara. You carry its light. The stone calls you, and Neva trusts only you." Suddenly, Neva touched the stone herself. A second burst of light filled the room. Both Sela and Ravi turned toward her. The stone began to float between her hands and Ravi's chest. A golden thread of energy linked them. Sela whispered, "The bond, it's complete." Then, everything went still. The next morning, Ravi felt different. He woke with strange dreams in his mind, images of stars, silver trees, and glowing rivers. When he touched the ground, he felt the heartbeat of the earth. When he looked at the sky, it felt closer than before. Neva, too, had changed. Her steps were stronger. Her voice had returned in small, soft words. She called Ravi Sena, now not just a title, but something deeper. Ravi didn't know how to explain it, but he felt like something inside him had opened. A quiet strength. A light that didn't burn, but warmed everything it touched. Sela began to teach Ravi more serious things. Not just language or history, but how to listen to the land, how to feel the stars, how to quiet his mind and hear what cannot be heard. She said, "If you are to protect Neva, you must also protect the memory inside her. And one day you must guide it forward." Ravi nodded. He no longer doubted. He was ready to learn. One afternoon, while walking near the river, Ravi and Neva stopped to rest. She sat beside him, playing with a flower, then looked up and said in a soft voice, "The stars remember you." Ravi smiled. "Do they?" She nodded. "They watch you. They know you are not alone anymore." He gently touched the mark on his palm, the spot where the Lumara had burned him. It no longer looked like a wound. It had become a glowing shape, like a small tree with roots and branches. "Do you remember your home?" he asked Neva. She looked down. "Only a little, but I remember the songs." "And your voice feels like one of them." Ravi said nothing. He just held her hand. Back at the village, Ravi's absence was noticed more often. His mother would ask, "Where do you go?" "Every day." Ravi would answer, "The forest. I feel peaceful there." She smiled and said, "You are changing. You speak less, but your eyes are stronger." "That's good." He smiled too. But deep down, he knew he wasn't only changing. He was becoming something else. That evening, Sela called Ravi inside the ship. "I found something in the memory stone," she said. "A map." "A map to what?" he asked. "A safe place," she replied. "Far from here. A mountain where Earth's energy is strong, and Neva can grow safely. We must go there." Ravi looked at the stone, glowing again, showing the mountain covered in mist and light. But how will we travel? The ship can't fly. Not yet, Sela said. But with your help. Maybe it can. Ravi didn't answer right away. He looked at Neva, sitting on the floor, quietly humming. Then he looked at Sela. I'll help. He paused, then added, I'll stay with you, no matter where we go. Sela's eyes filled with light. Thank you, Senna. Outside, the night sky opened wide, stars twinkling like they had secrets to share. Ravi stood under them, feeling their light inside his chest. He whispered to himself, I'm not just from this world now, because something bigger had begun, a path between the stars, a promise between hearts, and a boy who was no longer just a boy, but the guardian of two worlds. The ship now rested in a peaceful valley, hidden between green hills and tall trees. The air was clean, the wind was soft. Birds flew freely, and the sound of a small river echoed gently nearby. Ravi stood outside, looking up at the tall mountain. Ahead, the map from the memory stone had led them here. The light from the stone pulsed quietly now, like a calm heartbeat. This was the place. This was where the new journey would begin. Sela stepped out of the ship and stood beside him. The energy here is strong, she said, breathing deeply. I can feel it. So can Neva, Ravi nodded. It feels peaceful. Like the earth is alive. She looked at him. That's because it is. Earth is not just a place. It listens, it remembers, and here, it welcomes us. Inside the ship, Neva was sitting by the window, watching the sky. Her small hands rested on her knees, and her eyes glowed faintly, like the last light of a setting sun. She's changed, Ravi said. Yes, Sela replied. Stronger, quieter, but different. Ravi walked over and sat beside Neva. She leaned against him without saying anything. He looked at her. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. Then she whispered, It's time. Ravi didn't understand. At first, time for what? Later that day, Sela gathered small pieces of equipment from the ship, tools, wires, and strange glass plates. She brought them outside and began building a small circle on the ground using glowing stones and light dust from the memory stone. This is a connection point, she explained. A way to open memory into life. If it works, Neva's full. Energy will awaken. What happens then? Ravi asked. She will become more than what she is now, Sela said softly. But there's a risk. If her body cannot hold that energy, she may disappear. Ravi stood still. The thought of losing her filled his chest with fear. But if she doesn't change, Sela added, she will grow weaker again. Earth is not her home. This is the only way. As the sun dipped low behind the mountain, they placed Neva in the center of the circle. She didn't cry. She didn't look scared. She just looked at Ravi. You came for me, she said. I always will, Ravi replied. Sela stood beside them and placed the memory stone into Neva's hands. The ground lit up beneath her feet. The circle of light began to glow and hum. Then it happened. A strong wind rushed through the valley. The trees swayed. The light from the ground rose into the air like golden mist. Neva's body slowly lifted. From the ground, floating just above the circle. Her eyes closed. The light entered her chest, slowly, carefully. Sela held Ravi's arm. Stay strong. She needs your presence. Ravi stepped forward and held her hand in midair. I'm here, he said. For a moment, everything became quiet. Even the wind stopped. Then a bright flash filled the valley, and Neva fell back gently into Ravi's arms. He held her tightly. Her skin was warm. Her heart was still beating. But something had changed. When she opened her eyes again, they were full of stars. In the days that followed, Neva began to speak more clearly. Her words were slow but full of meaning. She talked about memories from her world, gardens of light, crystal cities, floating animals, and skies with two suns. She remembered songs her mother once sang to her before the war. She even remembered names of others, her people, who might still be out there. Somewhere in the stars, Sela listened carefully, writing everything down using glowing ink. These memories, she said, are not just her own. They are from all of us. Saved in her body, passed through the memory stone. She's not just a child, Ravi said one evening. She's a living story. Sela nodded. Yes, a living memory. And you are part of that memory now. They began planting near the ship. Ravi helped build a shelter using wood, leaves, and parts from the ship's broken pieces. Sela taught him how to grow starflowers plants from her world that could survive in Earth soil. With care, they sprouted small blue lights that glowed at night. Soon, the valley looked different. A mix of earth and sky. A blend of two worlds. Ravi's heart felt full, but deep inside, he knew a choice was coming. One morning, Sela called him aside. We cannot stay hidden forever, she sighed. I know, Ravi replied. Soon others will come. Maybe from the sky, maybe from Earth, but they will come. And when they do, they must see someone they trust. You mean me? Yes, Sela said. They will listen to you because you are human. But you carry more than that now. Ravi looked at his hands. The Lumara mark still glowed faintly. The ground beneath his feet felt like home, but the stars above whispered to him more each night. I feel like I belong to both, he said. Sela smiled. Because you do. That evening, Neva sat beside Ravi, watching the stars. You'll leave someday, she said. Ravi looked at her. Why do you say that? She pointed at the sky. Because it's calling you. He didn't know what to say. Will you forget me? She asked. Never, Ravi whispered. You're part of me now. She smiled. Then I'm not afraid. The next day, Ravi stood at the edge of the valley. He looked toward the far hills where the world continued, villages, people, cities. Then he looked back at the ship, the garden, Sela, and Neva. He had a choice to make. He could return to his old life. Or he could stay here, where something new had begun. He turned and walked back toward the ship, because his heart had already chosen. And so, the story ended, but also began again. A boy from Earth became the guardian of stars. A child from the stars became the voice of a forgotten world. And together, they planted something beautiful in the soil of two worlds. Not war, not fear, but hope.